Okay, so I'm not a firearms instructor, and you are not going to become expert marksman based on one trip to the range, but I do want to give you some of the basics of marksmanship so that you have a bit of a head start when you come to the range. So again, I have the laser pistol, not a live pistol here. Okay, I'm going to start with the grip. So I'm left-handed. I hope this doesn't mess you up too much, but we have here the beaver tail of the gun. I want to get the web of my hand up as high as possible there and get my fingers as high up on the trigger guard as possible. So I also bring my thumb up and I'm going to create all of this space on the grip here. And what I want to do with my support hand is fill in as much of that grip as possible with the palm of my hand. So I'm actually going to angle my fingers down as far as is comfortable for me. And then I'm going to lay that right over my other hand, fill in all that space. This is called a thumbs forward grip, so I'll get my support thumb out, I'll lay my dominant thumb there, and if you look, there should be no space anywhere on that grip if I have a good grip. Okay, so I've got fingers over fingers, I've got palm of hand filling in that gap there, and that's a good solid grip. Okay, now the second thing that we need to do is to have a good stance. So to demonstrate good and bad stances, we'll bring in my wife Sandy. One of the things that people commonly do when they hold a gun is, because the gun is out in front of them, they try to counterbalance the weight of the gun by sort of leaning back. And that's a natural thing to do, but it's not a very stable shooting position. So if Sandy mimics that typical position with the feet sort of close together and leaning back a little bit, then I can push her over fairly easily. Now, you want to get into a good, solid shooting position. So if I tell Sandy, just get ready to resist me pushing against you, she's probably going to spread her feet a little bit wider. She's probably going to offset her feet, and then she's going to get a little bit of a lean in, I imagine. So pretend like you're going to do that. So get your arms out, okay? And then she can figure out what's going to be a good position for her to be able to resist me pushing, which is the same thing she's going to have to do resisting pushing the gun. Okay, now the third thing has to do with sight alignment. So we've got grip, stance. Now sight alignment, the gun is going to have what are called the rear sights with a notch in it and the front sight post. And what you want to do is you want to stick the front post right in the rear notch there, and it sort of will look like this, right? So this is the rear sight with the notch. That's the front sight with the post. And what you want to aim for is the saying equal height, equal light. So we want the top of the front post to be equal height with the rear sight, and we want equal light between the left side and the right side of the front sight. That's how you know you have good sight. You put that right over where you want to hit. There's some nuances there that I won't get into, but if you can do that, you can generally hit around where you're aiming, okay? And then the final thing is going to be the trigger. Again, the third rule of gun safety, always keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire. So I'll take my grip, I'll take my stance, I'll acquire my sights here, and then I'm committed to shooting. So I'm going to bring that first pad of my finger down onto the trigger, and I'm just going to squeeze straight back, and the gun will go bang if it's a real loaded gun. So those are 4 basic elements of marksmanship. We'll review that again when you get to the range, but just so you know, those are some things that you need to do in order to make the bullet go where you intend it to go.